Welcome back to Transformations Yoga and Pilates Studio. I'm Leanne, and I can't thank you enough for all of the beautiful support and the lovely comments that everyone has sent through on YouTube and Facebook. I really appreciate it, and I find it to be very encouraging because this is really not an easy story to tell. So I'm very grateful for all of your continued support. So now we are going to be visiting the testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a lot of testing that went on before I was diagnosed, as with many women. And this testing, along with it, is a lot of waiting. And waiting is just something that you have to become accustomed to. And there's just no getting around it. I like to think that I've become very good at the waiting game, as I'm still undergoing tests a year later. It's just part of the process, and it is a very tough part of the process, the waiting game. I guess that's why they call us patients. So with waiting comes the dread. For me, it was this dread, this darkness that I had to stuff down every day and hopes that I could just keep on keeping on, and we would sort this out and this would be just a little speed bump to get over. So there are a lot of tests that were involved, and my first round of tests were for an ultrasound, and that was to take a look at the lump that I had in. And the reason why they were using an ultrasound can find out if you find a lump, if that tissue is solid or if it is full of fluid, like a cyst. So they can, distinguish with that. When I was getting the ultrasound done, my first round, I really felt for the technician. She was obviously seemed to be quite disturbed with what she was seeing, and I had no idea what she could see. And she was sweating and left the room 3 times. And on the 3rd time, she returned back to the room with the radiologist, who asked me if I could wait half an hour and come back for a mammogram. And I said, sure. It was when I had to wait for that mammogram that it hit me hard. I came out and seen my partner Alex, and I had a little mini meltdown. I was like, whoa, this is maybe something bigger than I initially thought. But nobody was saying anything to me. I went back, had an extensive amount of pictures taken with the mammogram. So that's that lovely test that's done with the squishing of breast tissue. And I really, truly believe that most women, when they have this procedure of the squishing of breast tissue between 2 plates of yummy plexiglass, is that in the back of their head, they're wishing that there was some sort of a diagnostic tool that did this to men's testicles. I'm pretty sure that I'm not unusual in thinking those things, because it's not pleasant at all, that's for sure. So with the mammograms and the ultrasounds, I knew I was going to have to wait a couple of weeks to hear back from my doctor. But actually what happened is that the hospital, from the breast assessment clinic in the hospital, contacted me before my doctor even contacted me and said they needed to set me up to see a specialist. And that meant surgeon, right? So I'm going, oh great. So I haven't even talked to my doctor yet, don't know what's going on. My doctor's office called me and says, nope, you're great. This is what we would have done, to set you up to go to the breast assessment. So I go there to meet this surgeon, the specialist, and he just happens to be the same surgeon that removed a tumor out of my breast when I was 25. So, what are the odds, right? So it was pretty good. I told him we go way back, me and this guy. So I felt very comfortable with him. He was great. He answered all my questions. And what he said we needed to do was to take more images. We needed more information. So he set me up for an MRI and to have an ultrasound and another mammogram. So it was another waiting game of 2 weeks. And in the waiting, I'm still living life, right? Still teaching loads of classes, juggling kids and dinner, and being mom and taking care of clients and working out twice a day because I was getting ready for this competition. There may be a large amount of denial at that time was very much keeping me comfortable so that I could continue on with my workouts. I had even thought of putting off some of the testing until after my competition, like really could this not wait kind of thing. Yeah, that's denial. So no, it couldn't wait. We had to keep on with this. So now I'm going to see the surgeon, and after I seen the surgeon and he told me about the MRI, I thought it was best to maybe speak to my mom about this. So I now have my mom and Alex by my side when we went to this process. So now I had my mom and Alex with me. We've gone in for the MRI. You know, it's kind of nerve-wracking. I don't know what to expect. You know, they're injecting you with some dye, some imaging dye that they're going to use. And my idea of an MRI is that you lay down and they're going to put you in this machine, and I know it's going to be really loud, and they're using this massive magnet, right? And there are like signs everywhere. You make sure you don't have any bobby pins in your hair and all this stuff. So you're very cautious, and you go into this room, and the technicians are just wonderful. Got me to lay down flat first. And so you lay down, and basically they have this open space where you're to lay your breast down, so that's where they can take the pictures. So it was nothing like what I expected. So MRI for the breast, laying face down, put the headphones on, very loud machine, has a little mirror that reflects onto a little picture of like palm trees to help you, I guess, to relax while you go through the process. And then you just wait for the images. The images are like done right away. They see them right away. Doctors get the information right away. So there's no holding back with that info. And then I was scheduled for another ultrasound and another mammogram, which I was really thrilled to do again. It was at the time of the ultrasound that the technician who came in for the second time, it was quite a process, the radiologist said, "Do you know what's going on?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I have no idea." I said, I've found a lump, and you're looking all over the place, and I've had lots of people looking, but no one's saying anything. She goes, "Okay, so you have one lump, we can see 7 more." And I was like, whoa, 7 more? And that was kind of blew my mind there. So with this information, the radiologist suggested that I have a biopsy. And so they did a core needle biopsy. And I went from having this ultrasound into this lovely little room in the breast assessment group, which is quite a lovely place in the hospital. And the staff are just terrific, and they set me up with the appointment to have the biopsies, which would be in another couple of weeks to get it done. And it was explained to me that the core biopsy is that they're using a hollow-like needle, and they're going to insert it into tissue, and they're going to take a chunk of that tissue out, and then they can check out that tissue to find out what's going on with that and to see if it was cancerous or not. So I had 3 of those biopsies done at once. I was very fortunate to have Alex and my mom again come with me to have those biopsies. They weren't pleasant. I really truly felt like I needed a sign hanging around my neck that said, "Please be nice to this woman. She just had a breast biopsy and it was yucky." That's all I can remember that, okay? Which is so unusual because I've had a mastectomy, so I've had my breast removed, and yet it's the biopsy that really sticks in my mind as being like yucky and nasty. I expected the biopsy to recover from that it was going to be something that would take a couple of days, but it took about maybe 5 to 6 days to recover it because I want to get back to the gym. I wanted to get moving and you know, I had training to do. I had stuff to do. Everything was going to come back fine. That was in my mind. So it was quite a process to go through all of these tests. And what I found out later that I didn't know initially with the test was that, here I have this ultrasound, and then I have a mammogram, and then why am I at breast assessment, and why are we taking more images, and why are we doing another ultrasound, and why is there another mammogram? And it's because we're very different, you kind of in a screening process is taking place at first. And then when I got to breast assessment, they were looking at trying to diagnose what exactly was there, because they could see stuff, they just didn't know what it was. And so here we get all these different images. The MRIs show a different picture than the ultrasounds, and the ultrasounds show a different picture than the mammograms. And yet they all come together to give as much information as we can get, really, to figure out what's going on without it being surgery. So I was waiting for the results of my biopsy to come back. So there I was again, waiting. So there's a waiting game. And like I said, with the waiting, there was a lot of dread. And with the dread, there was a lot of sucking up and stuffing stuff down and keep on smiling and going through the days and being very busy and having that on your shoulders. I found that it was very draining to me, energetically, emotionally. It was tough stuff. And after I was diagnosed, that I decided that it was time to start telling people, to let off some of that pressure. So in our next video, we're gonna look at the diagnosis and how all that went down. And I can't thank you enough for all of your attention and again, your support and your interest. I hope that this benefits somebody out there. So I thank you again. Peace.